Welcome everyone. I'm Chandra Kiran. I work as a product manager with E-Governments Foundation. With me is Subhashini, who is a technical architect, and she's also been working with us for the last couple of years. In this webinar, we are going to talk a little bit about works management and go higher level into what challenges that we have faced in understanding the works management space in the last 1.5 years that we will be working on it, and see how DigitWorks platform is able to solve some of these challenges. So here is a broad agenda of the webinar. We'll see what is public works management and why is it important. What are the different challenges that are present in public works management, and we will take it to introduce DigitWorks and what are the different modules that we have built already in DigitWorks, and what is the future roadmap looking like. And also we have done a very interesting exemplar in the state of Odisha. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. And finally, we'll take some questions. Please feel free to post your questions on chat anytime. We'll be responding to on chat. Okay, so let's get started. What is public works, right? One of the very common questions that I get asked very frequently, what is public works? So the construction and maintenance of any public infrastructure, be it roads, highways, buildings, bridges, canals, irrigation dams, projects, anything, all this comes under public works. Now, why is public works important? Because from a financial point of view, roughly about 28 to 30% of the entire country's budget is spent only on capital expenditure, which actually amounts to about 13.7 lakh crore rupees if you see annually spent just on either building new construction projects or even maintaining them. Even the trend, as we see from the last couple of years or last 5-6 years, has been going tremendously on how much capital is being spent on public works. And who does public works management? Public works management is majorly done by Public Works Department, but also Roads and Highways Department, or Buildings and Bridges Department, Education Department to build the schools, Health Department to build the hospitals, Agriculture Department for the irrigation facilities. It is not just a work that is done by a single department, but a lot of other departments also need to come and work together to solve the problem of public works. So we have seen what is public works management, why is it important, and who does public works management. And let's talk a little bit deeper about what are the different public works management modules, or what are the different value chain that is present in the public works management, right? So it all starts roughly about 5 to 6 months even before the financial year, which is April to March, right? Let's say in October to November times, when the budgeting exercise happens, what roads to build, what hospitals to build. At that time, there's a budget template that is circular, and budget circular that is put out, and every engineer, every department needs to fill in what all the things that they want to get built in a particular locality, or what that is under their purview. And that is where the actual planning and preparation of the budgeting happens, which includes the capital works as well. Now, this exercise get done through the 6 months of time between October to roughly March, and in April in the legislature this budget is put out and approved. Not necessarily the entire budget that is set for is approved. Sometimes let's say you ask for 10 crore of rupees for building a particular road, you may end up getting only a 9 crore rupees, or sometimes you may end up getting 11 crore rupees as well, depending on how the legislature wants to approve it. But once the budget has been approved for a particular project, then the actual detailed estimation phase starts, where initially it was only a ballpark estimate that is provided during the budgeting phase. But in this second phase, where the actual estimation is there, detailed engineering drawings are provided, bill of quantities are given, and the length, breadth, height of individual let's say buildings or roads or any construction projects are all prepared to the minute detail, and then those are sent for approval. So usually it's a junior engineer who prepares the estimation and sent to a municipal engineer, The municipal engineer approves and send it to the commissioner, depending on the size of the contract, or depending on the size of the estimate, and sent for admin sanction. Once the admin sanction is done, this is also sent for a financial sanction, so that certain amount of budget can be blocked for the particular project. So that is about budgeting and estimation. Once the estimation documents are prepared, the project needs to be given out to a particular contractor. Now, there are multiple phases on how a particular project can be given. Usually, it is through the mode of tendering, where different contractors are invited for bidding, and depending on the bidding and particular contractor has been finalized, chosen to build the project. But sometimes it's also given based on direct assignment, where the contractors are just given the projects to work on. So in the tendering phase, there is a document preparation phase where the engineers prepare the documents. Then the letter of intent is invited from the contractors, and on the bidding day, there will be bidding that is happening and finalizing the L1 contractor after the negotiations. After the tendering phase, then there is a contracting, where the actual contract document preparation happens, where the engineers prepare the contracts and sign it for approval. And after approval is done, the contract is issued to a particular contractor, and the contract is accepted by the contractor, and the work will get started. We will see in detail in the upcoming presentation on what are the different attributes that are there in each of these modules. For example, what attributes are there in contracts, what attributes are there in billing and all. So after contracting, the work will get started, and the work is measured using certain things, which are measurement books and milestones. And these measurement books will be submitted by the contractor to the engineer at a timely basis for billing. Bills can be again of multiple types depending on the mode of the project. Usually part bills are submitted on a weekly or a monthly basis, and there's one final bill that will be submitted at the end of the project. After the final bill is submitted, the entire project will be up for verification and audit. And once the audit is done, the project can be finally closed. So this is a very broad classification of the entire works value chain. While we understand that the whole value chain is so huge, there is a chance for so many problems and challenges to arise. And some of the challenges that we have faced while looking at the entire value chain of works management is this, right? So there are multiple government hierarchies. So within the department, there are engineers at multiple levels, junior engineer and municipal engineers and assistant engineers, and even between coordination between multiple departments, that becomes a problem. And there is no single platform to track the progress between multiple departments, and no single platform to track the progress between of multiple projects. So there is no transparency as well between different stakeholders. So payments become a problem because there is no transparency, and sometimes not sometimes, actually a lot of times, there is always a delay in projects, and sometimes the project also gets abandoned after they build some 50% or 80%. There is a problem with poor quality projects, and a lot of misuse of government funds and resources that happens, and sometimes the contracts get terminated also while the projects are being done, and a lot of times the cost also get increased while the projects are being done. So these are some of the challenges that we have seen while looking at the public works that are happening on the ground. While so many challenges are there, we also want to classify these challenges based on different actors and why these problems are happening. So we have broadly formed 4 different persona, starting with the citizen. So if I am a citizen, what are the challenges that I am facing as a citizen, right? So citizens are primarily not involved in the planning and budgeting activities. So if I am a citizen of, let's say, Bangalore, I am not asked what road to be built or what park that I want in my area. It is mostly decided by the government officials, and who may or may not be aware of my primary requirements. And inefficient and insufficient public goods. For example, let's say you want to build a bus shelter, but there is only one seat provided, whereas the actual requirement of this particular bus shelter seats are, let's say, 4. So these are insufficient public goods, though they are built on time and with quality. Now, infrastructure deterioration, another problem. These low quality public goods built sometimes get deteriorated very faster because one, the building itself was an issue, or two, because of the faster deterioration that happens due to heavy rains or sun or other climatic changes. And sometimes these infrastructure also become very unsafe. We have seen many problems with, let's say, bus shelters collapsing, or potholes problem, or schools sometimes collapsing, roofs collapsing of different buildings. Yeah, these are all major problems that are faced by citizens. Even the cascading effects of these problems, for example, because of the problem faced because of the potholes, our vehicles also get multiple problems that goes under repair, right? And a lot of times these are also delaying the benefits, where the project had to be completed 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but still not benefited, it's still not delivered. Take example of the metro rail, for example. These are the many challenges that are faced by the citizens. And some of the challenges faced by engineers who are working with the government. Now, identifying new projects is a problem. Why? Because they are not in constant touch with the citizens and don't know where exactly the new projects have to come up. Estimate creation. Estimate creation is a very huge manual task. It usually requires a day or two just to create one single estimate for a very small project. But if the project is big, it may take sometimes weeks of effort just to create one estimate using SORs, using bill of quantities and whatnot. Contract management, finding a right contractor and creating the contract objects, creating terms and conditions, issuing the contracts and renewing the contracts, modifying the contract, extending the contracts. The whole contract management is itself is a huge challenge. Then supply chain management. So if I have to procure materials from a vendor and give it to a different contractor for the actual work to be executed, that is again a different problem, because my vendor, though it is the same project, there are two different contractors or two different vendors that I am working with, and one may be operating at a state level, one may be operating at a local municipal level. So it becomes a very huge problem on where to store this inventory, when to transfer, how many tranches that I have to deliver in. All this becomes a challenge. Quality management is something that the engineer has to assure, but as of today, there are no sophisticated means that the engineers can ensure quality that is produced for the public goods. Legacy infrastructure, maintaining legacy infrastructure such as roads and buildings again becomes a problem, because maintenance of them on a timely basis is something that are not usually budgeted for unless the actual repairs happen. And some technological advances that the engineers may not be aware of, which can actually help in fasten the whole process. So some of the challenges faced by contractors. So new project notifications. If contractors are not always aware of the new projects that are published in any forum. So only a few contractors are aware of all these challenges. Of all the notifications, and many contractors may not be even aware. Many work with very tight schedules and budget constraints. And there are very low safety standards for the contractors who are working. The labor issues, procuring labor for the contractor is again an issue. Usually it is the migrant workers who work with these contractors in building projects, but many at the times the contractors face issues in hiring the right kind of labor with the right kind of skill set. And political and economic instability is a problem, because whenever there's a change in the country's political scenario, the contracts may be discontinued and the contractor may be out of job. Some of the challenges faced by government officials, again, political pressure and transitions, where usually in works, what we have seen is many of the projects are run top down, which is basically the elected representative choose what projects to do, and once they are not in power, the new party or the new people's representative come in and change the whole project's nature, and then the contractor is replaced. So that is another problem that both the government officials and also the contractors keep facing. Resource constraints, though there is a lot of times the budget available and also the plan in place, but there are no enough resources for the government officials to work and get the work done. Environmental considerations, again, the government officials can't choose any project that they want to build. It has to be in alignment with what the environment to support the environment. Land acquisition is a huge problem, though a lot of times you want to help the community in building certain new things for the development, but the land may not be available for laying the roads or building some hospitals or schools for public use. Interdepartmental coordination. So again, like the example that we are talking, let's say I want to build a hospital, but I don't have the permission of the finance department, or I don't have the funds from the finance department. So basically the health department has to talk to both PWD department and also the finance department to get this all done in on time, and which eventually causes project delays. So I'll take a pause here just to reiterate on, we have seen what is public works, why is it important, and who are the different actors in public works management, and who are the different stakeholders, and what are the kinds of challenges that they all face. Here is a quick survey. You can use your mobile phones to scan this. It's basically you want to know what are some of the challenges that you have as a citizen or as an employee or a professional have faced with public works or public infrastructure. We'll just pause for a minute here before we get into the digital works management. The very interesting sort of responses that we are getting, mostly around quality and timeliness, delays in execution, lack of accountability, lack of coordination between different departments, and payments issues. Yes, bad roads. All right, so we'll get back with that information now. So again, I'll just to reiterate, we have now understand what is broadly the public works management and what are the different challenges, who are the different actors from a citizen perspective, from a engineer perspective, from a bureaucrat perspective, and from a contractor perspective, right? Now, let's start and try to understand how DigitWorks platform is trying to solve many of these problems. I'll just say how or what are we trying to solve, and then we go into how we are trying to solve these problems. So the DigitWorks platform solves for faster payments. In a way, we have automated a lot of things between the modules or the services what we use, so that the payments can be made faster rather than waiting for different levels at approvals between different departments. Second is we solve for greater visibility and cross-department coordination. The platform itself being modular and interoperable, it gives the different departments visibility on what projects are at a different stage, just with the simple role-based access mapping. And because of the extensive research that we have done between all stakeholders, be it a contractor or a SHG or a way seeker, it is made both desktop friendly and mobile friendly so that it is easy to use. And a lot of real-time reports are available on different metrics and KPIs. Just different projects are at what time, is there any timeliness risk or is there any financial risk? And we also try to improve the efficiency by putting SLAs in place and ultimately solve for quality projects that are getting delivered on time. So these are some of the few value propositions that are there for the DigitWorks platform, and we'll see how we are trying to solve those in the next slide. So again, so the Works platform has been, or the Works business services have been built on Digit platform features. Digit is our flagship platform, which is built for scalability, which is built for interoperability, and which is open standard. Most of you have already seen Digit and how to utilize Digit and multi-purpose Digit for different use cases. So these are some of the features of Digit platform itself, which is interoperable, unbundled, ease of use, inclusive, where Digit is available on different languages and also supports different devices. It is secure and reliable in the sense that whatever the data that we are storing, be it a contractor bank information or be it the way seeker bank information or other any such details are all encrypted and stored. Yeah, so I'll move to the next slide. So here is a little bit about what we are trying to build in works management. The pieces that you see in green are already kind of built, and what you see in pink is something that is there lightly in our roadmap or something that we are building in the next couple of months, and as our roadmap. So from the value proposition or from the value chain that we have seen earlier, under estimation, abstract estimate, detailed estimates, and admin sanctions and estimate templates, so that it is easy for the engineer to do the estimation. So the estimation automation itself is done. What we are still pending to do is the revision estimates and the spillover estimates. Tendering is some piece that is one piece that where a lot of already mature tools are present in the market. So we tend to keep this for a later version, but whereas the contracted finalization, that piece is already built because the platform is interoperable. Whatever tender modules are there outside, that can link up with the Digit contractor finalization and send which contractor has been finalized for a particular project. Once the contractor is already is finalized, contracting module, which has contract management, which has milestones and terms and conditions, contract initiation and revision features. After contracting, there is a measurement module, which has detailed measurement books and tracking of milestones and payment calendar on what dates the payment will be made to a particular contractor. And we are also trying to see if we can build some pieces around quality measurement or in the measurement module. After measurement, we have the billing module where we have manual billing and also smart billing. Smart billing is a kind of advanced feature where we say that the components which are required for the billing is if already approved. then the billing doesn't have to stop. For example, let's say the measurement book is already approved, then I don't have to again wait for the bill to be approved. The bill can be auto approved. So certain smart decisions we have taken in the process of doing the billing module, so that the contractors or the end users of the system doesn't have to wait for the benefits. Payment advice is a mechanism where we can group different bills and form so that the payments can be issued at a single time to the state treasury, so that they can process the payment rather than individual bills. So it will be easy for the DDO or anyone on the other side to do single transaction rather than doing multiple transactions. Then we have project closure. Sorry. Where a closure checklist is present before closing the project. Once it is filled, the entire closure as a booklet will go to the junior engineers, and once they review the entire project closure checklist along with the previous estimates, contracts, measurements, and all these things, the entire project will be closed. And we have dashboards, which can be shown in real time. So this is the broad works modules and different features under each module. With this understanding, we'll look at one of the exemplar that we have been doing in for the Odisha state. So one of the problems that we encountered while doing our research was in Odisha state, during COVID, there were many urban way seekers who lost their jobs, and Odisha state was trying to initiate a new program called UWEI, Urban Wage Employment Initiative, through which they wanted to build sustainable community assets, at the same time provide livelihood opportunities for the way seekers, migrant laborers, women employees, and households, right? So with one program, they wanted to both beautify the city as well as solve the problem of unemployment. So with this initiative, in 2020, they have started this program, which now is renamed as Mukta. The Mukta program stands for Mukhyamantri Karma Tatparya Abhiyan. It's one of the programs that is being handled by the HUDD, Housing and Urban Development Department of Odisha. And currently, budget of about 400 crores annually is allocated for this particular program, where different projects such as city beautification projects, wall painting projects, or slum cleaning projects, or small labor-intensive projects have been taken up, which are with a margin of 5 to 10 lakh rupees and not more than 20 lakh rupees, and given to local self-help groups. There are about 30,000 self-help groups in the state of Odisha, and roughly about 7.5 lakh way seekers are getting benefited because of this one program. And till date, in the last 3 years, more than 25,000 assets have been built. Assets include community welfare houses. Assets include small roads and small sustainable, let's say, rainwater harvesting schemes and things like that. Small assets which can be helpful for the community itself. So here is a very high level architecture diagram of Muktasoft, again using the Works platform. So here we can see the business services, which are the project, estimate, contract, expenditure, and attendance. So these services are built on Digit core platform services, which are the role-based services or the user service, encryption service, workflow. And using these business services and the core services, the front end, which is the Android app for the contractors or the SHGs here in this case, the employee portal, and the dashboard. So these three front-end pieces interact with the business services and core services in kind of delivering the whole benefit to the user. They also talk to IFMS using certain adapters. We'll discuss about it later. So this is the high-level architecture of the whole Muktasoft application. Let's go a little deeper into understanding what each of these modules or each of these services has. So we have a project service. So first thing, whenever a user is interacting with Digit Works application or the exemplar now, which is the Muktasoft application, the first thing that the user or the employee will have to do is create a project. So the project roughly has the following attributes, which are the name, project name, project description, project type and subtype. Like a type can be building and subtype can be, let's say, hospital building or a school building, something like that. And what is the location and the target demography, and what are the estimated cost. These are just ballpark numbers at this point in time. In the detailed estimate, we will come to the actual estimate cost of the project. So here maybe it will be like 1 crore rupees or 1.5 crore rupees. And then any attachments that are relevant to this particular project that can be created. Then we have estimate creation. In estimate creation, we have to link this particular project to the estimate to the particular project that is already created. And to create this estimate, we need detailed SORs and unit rates or SORs and the actual amount details. And finally, the actual estimate in terms of unit paisa that will be available finally, that should be coming out of this exercise, including the GSTs and taxes and everything. We have also integrated with the SORs so that the engineer doesn't have to fill anything manually. Using masters, this SORs can be copied automatically, searched for and pulled automatically into the estimate creation screen, and estimates can be created. So here is the estimate workflow, where from an approved projects, an estimate creator can create the estimate using the estimate template as well, so that it will be easy to create the estimate. And then estimate checker, who can be a municipal engineer or some senior official, can check the estimate and forward it to a technical approval. And once it is technically sanctioned, it can be followed for admin sanction and finally approved. If at any point in time it can be rejected, it can be sent to the initial creator, make the changes, and again resubmit. So this is the typical workflow of how estimate service works. We'll go next. Then we have contract. Now that the estimate is already created, now we need to contract this particular project to a contractor. So these are the different attributes that are present in a contract: contract ID, contract type, whether it is a purchase order or a work order, etc. When is the contract start date? When is the contract end date? What are the different line items which will come from the estimate itself? If the estimate have 20 line items, then the contract may have 20 line items with the negotiated rates in amount details, and if there are any attachments and workflows. So this is the contract rough specifications, and here is the contract approval workflow. So to create a contract, first is the contract creator. A contract creator can be a junior engineer who create the contract, and then contract will be checked by a contract checker, who can be a senior engineer or a municipal engineer, and then finally approved. Once approved, the contract also has to be accepted by either a contractor or a vendor. If it is typically a purchase order, it will be accepted by a vendor who will supply the material, and that workflow will continue. If it is a work order, then the work order will be accepted or declined by a contractor, and the contractor will further take it, start the project. If they want to reject, the rejected contract will go back to the contract creator, the engineers, and they will resubmit. So that was contract service, and then we have measurement. So now that the contract has been accepted by the contractor, the work starts from the start date that is mentioned in the contract, and the measurement will have to be taken. The measurement can be taken at any period of time. It can be taken every day, or it can be taken alternative day, or taken weekly. Every time the measurement will be taken, it will be taken from the past date from which the measurement was created. So here are some measurement attributes, where there will be measurement ID, measurement type, measurement from date, to date, unit of measurements, whether it is lengths or square meters or square units or cubic meters, or what is the location, and then the attachments. And after measurements, the contractor also have to raise the bills in a periodic way. Each bill will have certain attributes, which is a bill ID. bill date, bill due date, until by what time this bill has to be paid, what is the amount of the bill, total amount, what amount is already paid, and what is the status of the bill, who is the payer, who is the payee, different workflows and attachments. We'll go deeper into this once we look at the actual demo. So here is the bill workflow as well. We create bill either manually or automated, like I was talking about the smart payments concept, where the bill is once created, be it for a material bill or a contractor bill or a supervision bill or an advance bill. All the bills can be consolidated in the payment advice and sent for an approval. Once it is approved, the bill will be sent to the treasury or the IFMS where the actual payment happens. There could be multiple chances where there can be to and fro between the application and the treasury because of the different reasons, insufficient funds or failures of transactions or things like that. And once the IFMS either approves or rejects, we will update the bill and the beneficiary payment status back in the system. If the bill is itself rejected, then we have a provision to recreate the bill or remodify the bill and resubmit. Or if the bill is finally approved, then we receive a success status of the entire bill and the payment that will be updated in our system. And then you've seen the payment piece as well, where it will be all combined and sent for payment advice in the IFMS. Have any questions? Okay, so this was all so far on the employee side. What we have seen is project estimate, contract, measurement, billing, and payment. So that we also have a contractor application where we have the works that are assigned to a particular contractor. The contractor can log in, accept the contract, and do certain activities. If because in Mukta's case, the contractor also has to, or the SHG also has to track the attendance of the way seekers to actually make the payments using the DBT. That is why we also see a track attendance feature in this particular application. And once the attendance is tagged, we also submit the muster rolls for the way seekers payment to be done, and so bills can be created and sent from this application itself for all the payments that need to be made. And we can request to close the projects and also register way seekers from this application. And finally, we have a dashboard built where we have different work progress indicators. We have financial progress, we have alerts and notifications, SLOs, adherence, and different leaderboards, so as to know which cities are doing well in terms of compliance, which projects are doing well in terms of compliance and quality. A lot of other KPIs are also put on the dashboard so that the bureaucrats, what we earlier seen as a challenge, that they do not have enough information, that information availability problem can be solved.
Questions?
Yeah.
Answer it, or-
Yeah. We can take the questions.
Yeah, you can check in the Q&A box. There are 3.
Just going through the questions. We'll talk about the estimate. So I'll take the first question from Vishnu Shashank. So when you talk about the estimate, general block cost assumption, for example, a service like pipeline for 10 kilometers, is there some unit cost assumptions that are pre-built or they are to be manually filled by the engineer? So here we are talking about the SORs that are primarily there in the masters that are there in the works platform. Every PWA department in every ULB has a standard SORs, and we already are having a provision to pull that SORs into creation of estimates. If at all any estimate creation, if at all any estimate creation, at time of particular estimate creation, there are not any standard SORs, then we have a provision to also have non-SORs included. So the engineers on the fly can add few more fields and add the respective GOEMs and also the quantities and the rates on the fly. And these can be sent for estimate creation. Next question, how does system estimate the dimensions of the public works or any components of the structure? Dimensions of works. So in the system, we don't have a direct provision to do the estimation. It is based on the engineers who do the estimations or the actual drawings on a software like an AutoCAD outside. And once the estimation is prepared, or once the bill of quantities are prepared, these are entered into the system using the standard SORs. The actual drawing or the actual detailed estimation is usually done outside the works management system. Question from Arpan Chatterjee. Session is exciting. Thanks for explaining. Okay. Would you mind discussing separately with some examples with some project and developers? Sure, Arpan, you can reach out to us. We can discuss some more examples separately, and we can also help you some technical sessions on the building upon the platform. Okay, one question from Manjunath. How can you choose the best contractor not blacklisted by the government? So this one is something that we have seen in a lot of cases earlier, where the government contractors are usually, contractors are usually blacklisted and are not allowed to take up certain projects. We earlier thought of building a module which has a list of contractors and their rate contracts, and in a way the system can suggest who is the best contractor suited for a particular project based on some ranking mechanism. This is what we've ideated to build initially. But right now, I think there are a lot of sophisticated systems which capture the essence already on who's like the different vendors and different contractors. And this is something that they're in our pipeline for a future. Question from Amber. The dashboard may be available for viewing to the administrators like the district administrator and the ministry. Yes, the dashboard will be available for everyone to view. It will be made public. It's just a role-based access. If we remove that permission and make the URL open, anyone can see the dashboard. Question from Uma Shankar. How do the system tracks the work progress and the cost overruns? One is through measurements and milestones. We have a very comprehensively built measurement books depending on the estimates that are initially put forward. Let's say the project is for 6 months, and every month or every week there will be an engineer or a contractor who will be submitting the estimates and submitting the measurements, and based on these measurements we will know how much of the work is progress, and if the progress is also based on what the estimates are. For example, as per the milestones, I have to complete 50% of the work within 25% of the time itself, while I want to do the rest of the work slowly. That is there in the milestones. That same will be tracked on the dashboard as well. Same for the cost overrun. One is the time overrun and this other is the cost overrun. That also can be tracked if there are more number of bills or payment is not made or requested as per the payment calendar. Okay. Since we have roughly 10 to 15 minutes more, we can go through a quick demo of what we have built and see that's out. So the screen is still visible. Okay. Yes. So here is Muktasoft application. This is currently the QA instance, so not the live one. I have logged in myself as a super user, which means I am having permissions like an engineer who is a junior engineer and also the municipal engineer at the same time, so that it will be easy for the demo. We'll start looking at creating a project and then different. So first thing, like I said, is to create a project. Click on project and click on create a project. Let's say I want to create a wall painting project, and in Koramangala third block, and I have a reference number of file and project type. So these are the data that is already reset in the system, and let it be a wall painting for a mini park. And target demography is an area inhabited by the reservation committee, and then rough cost is about, let's say, 1 lakh rupees. And then we are selecting the ward, we are selecting the locality, and then these are not mandatory documents, so I'm skipping for the time being. And then I have created the project successfully. This is just a project creation. I am storing this particular project. Now I'm creating an estimate for this particular project. To create an estimate, right now, whatever the SOR features that I have earlier said was being built is under pipeline. So you will be seeing that in the next webinar. Right now, what we can ideally see is to copy some of the SOR items that are already there into this particular estimation screen. So I'll just copy one SOR so that it is clear what exactly we are seeing. So this is how a SOR template will generally look like. So the unit of measurement for this SOR is, let's say, a square meter, and I want number 1.9 is the rate estimated quantity 10, and roughly about 1,15,000 rupees. So it is slightly above the cost of what we anticipated earlier while creating a project. And then there is a let's say supervision charge of 7.5%, and then total cost of the estimated cost is coming down to 1,24,000 rupees. And there's also a request in Mukta to add what is the labor cost and material cost. So I'll put around 50,000 and 50,000 as labor cost and material cost. There's some mandatory documents here to attach the detailed measurement, detailed estimate. Yep. So once these documents are added, now we are trying to create an estimate. Now the estimate has been created successfully, and we just estimate is now created by the junior engineer. So this estimate has to be approved by a senior engineer or a municipal engineer. Because I am also mapped with the same user, I can look at this. Okay, this is the estimate that we have just created. Actions and verify and forward. Now this is verified by a municipal engineer. Again, I'll do actions and approve the technical sanction, which will be done by a technical engineer, and then finally approve, which is the admin sanction. Now the estimate is completely approved. Now we can go ahead and create a work order or a contract for this particular estimate. So I'll create a contract, search for the estimate, and this is the estimate wall painting project in prepared by Chandrakiran, and status is approved. Estimate per rupees 1,24,000. So open this project, I see all the details, and then click on actions and create a work order for this particular estimate. So the name of the CBI I want to give is QA testing. So these are some of the contractors that are already created in the system. We are not seeing that interface right now. And who is the officer in charge? Let's say it is again, and a project completion period. I want to put as 60 days. And then not mandatory documents. So we are creating a work order for this, and we create a work order. Just copy this again. Now work order also is created by a junior engineer. Again, will have to be approved by a senior engineer. So I'll just go back to the work orders and select the work order which I just created, and actions, verify and forward. So the work order has been verified and forwarded successfully. And then again approve the work order. Now work order has been approved by the senior engineer on the employees in the department side. Now this work order has to be accepted by someone on the contractor side. Who is the contractor we have assigned to is the QA testing CBO. We'll have to log in into the CBO's interface and log in and accept the work order and continue operations from there. Just give me a moment so that I can open the interface of the CBO using mobile. Okay, so here is how the citizen or the SHG interface will look like, the contractor application. So I'm logging in. So in this application, if I go to my works, we can see the contract which we just issued to this particular contractor or the self-help group, and either I can accept or decline it. So I am accepting this contract, and now from today onwards until the next 60 days, I am responsible to track this contract and close it. So I'll go back, and in Mukta, in this particular application, whatever contract that I am accepting, I am also responsible to add certain way seekers to the particular contract and also track their attendance. So open the contract, take action, engage way seekers into the contract. I have some way seekers already registered, so I will add them. So consider these are like my contract laborers that I work with. So I'll add a few. So these are the 3 people that I want to work on this particular wall painting project. So I click on submit. Now they have been added to the project. Now I can go back and start tracking their attendance for the next 60 days on the application itself. So their skills have been already mapped for, and they, based on the skills and based on the attendance, the payments will be made to a particular contractor. So here I can track attendance. Since they joined only today, which is 5th September, I can track attendance only for today. And let's say these 2 people are present and I want to submit the attendance. So this is how overall it works. So select the skill. Now this particular attendance log has been sent to the engineers for approval. So I'll go back and start tracking their muster roll. So muster roll. So this is the muster roll which we just received from the contractor, which is pending for approval. So these are the attendances. Only for 2 people we have submitted attendance on 5th of September, and the total wage to be paid is 36 rupees as per their skills and the skills mapped to the particular amounts, and I verify and forward. And because I am also mapped with the senior engineer role, I can approve the muster roles directly. I certify that the work has been verified and approved. So now the muster role has been approved, and also the bill has been created against this particular muster role. So I'm just copying this muster role. We go back to bills and see the bill for that particular muster role would have been approved already because the muster role is approved. So search bills, bill type is wage bill, what we created. And this particular project, this particular bill is what automatically got created for these two beneficiaries, and the status is what we can see. So bill has been approved. Bill details are amount is 36 rupees. So this is how the overall works management module has been built. There are some other modules also, like registering organization, registering a base seeker, registering the contractor, and a few more that we are trying to enhance the whole application. We have seen in the roadmap also earlier. So that is the overall a quick demo of what we have built so far in works management and in Muktasoft. That brings us to the end of the webinar and also right on time. So here is a part of our Digit volunteer community. We engage with volunteers who want to collaborate with us, who want to build along with us on this solving some of the huge challenges that we are facing in the society using technology. Please scan the QR code on the screen so that you can join our volunteers. So there are already hundreds of volunteers who are collaborating with us and helping us build this digital public infrastructure, the digital public goods. It's an open Discord channel. Once you scan, you will be asked to register onto Discord, and you can start looking at different channels that are there and join different conversations that are already happening on some of these challenges. We also invite folks on our office space in Bangalore. This was the first meetup conducted in the month of June, where roughly about 150 volunteers have come and collaborated with us on understanding different problems that we are trying to solve. And also there are a few upcoming events. We have next event on 14th September on Digit Bootcamp 2.0, is building a Digit service. Whatever services that we have seen today, project service, estimate, contract, how to build these using Digit. That's what we are going to learn in that particular bootcamp. And also installing Digit on Azure is something that we are going to see on 22nd September. Thank you everyone for attending. It's been a great pleasure to have you all on the call. Hope there are a lot of takeaways and this was fun learning.